Welcome to VCC Connection. And yes, you get 2 for 1 today. I'm Ray.
And I'm Bob.
And here we are together. And what we want to do is share a little bit with you from our last trip to the Rocky Mountains. We had a wonderful time. We go with another couple, and we have now done this for 17 years, 18 years, and love every moment of it. But this time when we went, I realized the truth that God plans every day of my life. I don't get just to walk through a day and He's not in it. But He plans every day for us. And let me begin at the beginning. We got to the Rocky Mountains, drove up to where our cabins are. It's a group of cabins we stay at along the Big Thompson River. And while Bob and Dave went in to register us, Cindy and I heard that there were elk at the bottom of the little hill behind the cabin. So we jumped out of the car and we ran over to the edge, and there they were. Oh, there were probably 10, 12 elk there, along with a bull elk. And just as we got there, he bugled. And oh my, I said, what a wonderful welcome to our time in the mountains. And tell them what happened the next 2 days.
Well, the next day, our friends in the room next to us open up their curtain, and here is a female elk staring at them through the window. And we were wondering if she was saying, well, what are you going to wear today? I want to see. It was amazing, that close. It was a shock.
Well, good grief, they were coming up right along the little fence, if you will, around our deck, right up to the deck itself, looking at us or eating the leaves off the tree. That's up close and personal.
And one of them kind of looked at me and opened his mouth like she was saying, and what else do you have to eat? This tree's pretty good, but do you have something better?
Yeah.
And then we looked to the right, and then it seemed like they were arguing which one was going to go up the slide and come down the long slide. But, it was slippery because of the dew, and they didn't do that.
Anyway, that was our first couple days in the Rockies with elk surrounding our cabin. And we just knew it was God who had arranged that for us. He planned that for us. We had a wonderful time, 5 days in the mountains, saw things we had never seen before. What was the one thing we saw?
Well, we always go up this old road. It's really gravel, and it's a beautiful sight, but this time it was partially in a cloud. We haven't seen that before, so I'm trying to drive this very windy road in a cloud. But when we got up on top, it was like it had snowed. It was so beautiful. The valley was covered in a cloud, and we've never seen that before.
Yeah.
And that was exciting.
It really did look like snow between the mountain peaks, a glacier even, and we'd never seen that before. It was really a rather exciting time there. But God wasn't through with us. We had 5 days in the mountains, and He had something planned for us every day to see. And then we went down to Pueblo, Colorado, to take the train ride through the Royal Gorge. And we were there, and Bob and I decided to go get coffee.
And we went to the nearby coffee shop, and as is our custom, we're always looking. And there was one young lady who was cleaning up and serving, and she smiled at me, and then that's when I got the nudge. So I just complimented on her smile, and keep doing that. That's really encouraging to us when we come in. And she just lit up like, wow, thank you, because normally she's ignored.
Yeah.
And so she was encouraged by that.
Yeah. So there was a divine appointment that really we weren't looking for, but God said, no, this young lady needs some encouragement. Well, we took our train ride through the Royal Gorge, and when I think of it later, God picked our seats for us on the side where the river was so we could see everything easily. And he picked our server in the train ride, which I hadn't thought about either. She was a wonderful young lady, so bubbly, so kind to everyone, that when the train trip was almost over, I got the nudge, and I called her over and I told her what I saw in her kindness, her goodness, her love for people. And she kept going, yeah, I love it. I love my job. I really do. And I just encouraged her as how she's touching and impacting people. And she looked at me and said, I'm going to cry. Can I hug you? And I said, sure you can. I gave her a big hug. And then I whispered to her. I had heard her say something about wanting children. And I said, when you get, the time is right, you will be a super mom. I see it in your heart because you remind me of someone who's a really super mom who loves kids. And she goes, oh, I need to know that. I need to know that. Mm-hmm. That was our train ride. Oh my goodness. We weren't looking for that, but God said again, this young lady needs a word from me, and you guys get to do it. Well, I get to do it, and he's really got to hit me with a 2x4 before I open my mouth. But it's so wonderful to watch someone respond to the touch of God. But God wasn't done. God is never done. So we get to the airport, and on the day we're flying out, and where are we in the lineup?
Well, we're at the end of the B's and on our plane, and that means there probably won't be any storage space up above. And then there was a woman just right behind us who said, well, coming out here, I was in the A, and I was so happy, but now I'm in the C, which means one of their last seats. Mm-hmm. And she had a carry-on, one very big, but still there's that concern. And
I said to her, well, you know, being at the end of the line, you get to pick who you want to sit next to. You aren't sitting there and somebody chooses you. You get to pick. And she goes, you're right. I get to pick who I want to sit next to. And we got on the plane. Bob found us 2 seats together way
at the very back.
And so we slid in, and we could see her, this young woman, coming down the aisle. And she looked at us and went, I know you two. I like sitting next to you, can I? And we both said, sure, come sit next to us. So we had a nice conversation with her. When the trip was over and we're taxiing into Indy, again, God just goes, now. What now? So I lean forward and I go, can I say something to you? Sure. So again, I encouraged her. I said, just a little conversation. I see this and this and this in you. And you are impacting people, and you're making a difference. And you don't realize it, but lives are changed. And she sat back and went, thank you. I needed to hear that about me. Wow. You know, it just blows my mind. And she went off to go home, and we went off to go home. And that's when I realized God planned every day of it. Every single day. He gave us a kiss, or he encouraged us to speak to someone.
That reminds me of Matthew 5, where it says, we are the salt of the earth. And salt is just a little bit. And so these words that were given to people that we met was just a few words, but it had life in it, and it encouraged them, and it made them taste better, I guess.
Well, change the atmosphere.
Change the atmosphere.
So I encourage you, keep your eyes open, keep your ears open, because God's got your day planned. Whether to give you a kiss, a blessing, or to give you that little nudge that says, I've got something I need to say, and you're going to say it.
Let me add one more thing. She said earlier, 2x4 up the head. Well, that was early on. Now it's just a little nudge.
Well,
And we become more sensitive to his ways. And so will you.
yes, yes. So the Lord bless you. The Lord keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you.
And give you his peace.
Yes.
Amen.
Amen.